Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what makes you hopeful that we can reach net zero emissions by 2050? Trying to find hope in this thread because I don't have any. My key joke was nothing, so I'm just posting in this hopeless thread with all you other pessimistic realists. Don't rule out extinction. Can't release emissions if we're all dead. Improvements in energy sources, such as more nuclear power plants and solar farms. More and more cities switching to electric or natural gas-powered buses. The increased awareness of climate change by millennials. Edit: I should also mention the amount of companies that are promising to operate zero-emission factories. That is also a big step towards zero emissions. Don't forget hydroelectricity. Water actually helps contribute a surprising amount towards clean, renewable energy. Hydroelectric production has stagnated recently due to a lack of locations to build dams. COVID shifting huge portions of the Western workforce away from the commute to work 5 days a week system will drastically reduce urban weekday carbon emissions. My company is sending everyone back into the office. All 5,000 employees, with a large portion of them having to commute around 2 hours to work. Despite them doing a survey on whether people prefer working from home or not, and 92% said they preferred working at home. Productivity went up, sickness went down, and we didn't have a high staff turnover, but they insist because relationships can't be built over Teams. Same here, I have some issues preventing me going to the office, and I was told that I might not be suitable to carry on at this position because we cannot get to know each other online. Edit: I should mention I started the role remotely and been working for the past couple of months just fine. Sounds like my previous job. Company: you need to come into the office every day. Me: 100% of the people I work with and communicate with don't work in the same building as me, so what's the difference between a Teams call from the office and a Teams call from home? Company: company culture. 100% renewable electricity is viable. Physics World 2018. Podcast: Tom Raftery, The Coming Green Revolution, Smarter Markets 2021. The argument for renewables is purely an economic one. The Guardian 2017. Shell says its oil production has peaked and will fall every year. CNN 2021. Critics say green policies stifle growth. The opposite may be true. The Academic Times 2021. Use subsidized wind and solar now cheapest source for new electric power. Computer World 2017. Oil is dead, renewables are the future, why I'm training to become a wind turbine technician. The Guardian 2021. Renewables create more electricity than coal. Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis 2019. Why renewables and natural gas are taking over. Interactive map. Vox 2016. 2/3 roads of Americans say alternative energy over fossil fuels. Pew Research Center 2017. Hurricane Florence crippled electricity and coal, while solar and wind were back the next day. CBS News 2018. Putting New York City's waterfront at the heart of a renewable energy revolution. Next City 2019. Why the offshore wind industry is about to take off. Business Insider 2018. Evidence that offshore wind farms are changing the oceans for the better. MIT Technology Review 2017. Wind energy is one of the cheapest sources of electricity, and it's getting cheaper. Scientific American 2017. Offshore wind power cheaper than new nuclear. BBC News 2017. Governor Murphy announces $250 million total investment in state-of-the-art manufacturing facility to build wind turbine components to serve entire U.S. offshore wind industry. NJ Gov 2020. The Empire State Building and its related buildings are now powered by wind. The Washington Post 2021. Offshore wind stagnated under Trump, but Biden policies could create a wind energy boom. Cape Cod Times 2021. The price of solar electricity has dropped 89% in 10 years. Fast Company 2021. It's now cheaper to build a new wind farm than to keep a coal plant running. CBS News 2018. First U.S. steel plants powered by wind, solar energy are coming. CNBC 2019. Solar and wind energy propel growth in U.S. renewables. Nature.com 2017. 77–80% of new U.S. power capacity came from solar and wind in 2020. Cleantechnica 2021. There are now 2x as many solar jobs as coal jobs in the U.S. Vox 2017. U.S. Solar power employs more people than oil, coal and gas combined. The Independent 2017. Republican mayor fighting for renewable energy in Louisiana Vice 2017. Irving plans to use 100% renewable energy by 2023. The Dallas Morning News 2021. How 6 small towns and cities are going green. Curb 2017. America can nearly quadruple its renewable electricity by 2030. Cleantechnica 2016. U.S. Department of Energy wants electricity grid to be able to handle 100% midday peak solar power. Electric 2016. U.S. Secretary of Energy, flow batteries are good for grid storage. Energy Storage News 2021. In boost for renewables, grid-scale battery storage is on the rise. Yale 2020. U.S. looks to boost energy storage by 525% by 2025. Oilprice.com 2020. Scientists create liquid fuel that can store the sun's energy for up to 18 years. Science Alert 2019. California wastes its extra solar, wind energy. Could hydrogen be the storage key? The San Francisco Chronicle 2021. Water battery a winner for Australian University in the first year of operation. The thermal energy storage tank saved 4,232 tons of CO2 emissions, with 3,082 tons saved by the University of the Sunshine Coast through using solar power instead of grid electricity. PV Magazine 2020. Latest development on China's largest battery energy storage project. Power Engineering International 2021. Largest battery in Australia to be built at aging NSW coal-fired power plant. abc.net.au 2021. Name absolutely checks out. It's never really been about the scientific viability. We already knew that our tech was getting good enough to phase out fossil fuels. It's about convincing oil companies and mining barons to stop blocking progress and accept change. It's always been about power. Scotland produces too much renewable energy that it's capable of powering multiple Scotlands. That sounds nice, multiple Scotlands. Maybe we could replace bits of South England with more Scotlands. I know what we're gonna do today. There's more public support for taking big steps to avoid a climate disaster than ever before. It's inspiring to see governments and companies around the world set ambitious goals for reducing emissions. The world's power to invent makes me optimistic. Multiple NGOs, like your own, are helping to raise awareness around climate change and harmful emissions. Seeing governments and businesses around the world starting to notice such initiatives is one of many reasons to be hopefully we reach net emissions by 2050. I'm glad to see youth and younger generations, heck, it doesn't matter the age, becoming more and more active towards such issues. As the next generation to lead, we need bright minds and public support for these important changes in our society. Thanks again for doing these honors. I've seen them for a while but have always been too late to reply to them. Glad to finally be around for one. I didn't even realize it was Bill Gates until you pointed out his NGO. Big companies finally turning towards green energy. However, unfortunately most of them are lying about it and or only doing it for marketing. I mean, I don't care what is their motivation as long as they do it. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these companies are just greenwashing. That's all basically any of them are doing. None are actively making supply lines better, none are actively removing plastics, as evidenced by the fact that we're neither recycling plastic, and everything has plastic in its packaging now. None are pushing for real aggressive moves to deal with the problems at hand. It's almost all just marketing bullshit. I hope that nuclear programs will take off. Lots of people are hating on nuclear power as they think it will be Chernobyl V2, but in reality, today, lots of nuclear programs are way more safer and way more efficient compared to old times. Also, uranium is really strong and we don't have to worry about it as much as we can recycle large portions of it. If you want to get excited about the future of nuclear power, I'd recommend the 60 Minutes interview with Bill Gates, from February 14, 2021. Skip to 9 o'clock on the mark for just the nuclear part. Exciting stuff. Fun fact, there's a good chance this question was also posted by Bill Gates. I live in Mexico, so absolutely nothing makes me hopeful. If anything, we will generate more emissions than before. I live in Germany, and same. People vote for the Greens that do nothing and think they are saving the environment with 2.5-ton electric sports cars. While I share your pessimism overall, Greens need to be majority to be implementing very large-scale changes. Germany is still doing relatively well, and it's not the problem child in this equation. Honestly, I have little faith. Average people have little control over how they live and rely on giant corporations and billionaires to do the right thing. So far as I can tell, this is not going well. 75% of my recyclables go into the landfill and I hardly use any motorized transportation. I've got reusable bags up the wazoo and LED lights in every room. All I want is a small house that's easy to warm in the winter on some land where I can grow food, perhaps even a community garden. It feels like all meaningful change is out of my hands because I cannot afford solar panels, let alone property to put them on. I am at the mercy of whatever my landlord decides to do and have no choice but to get my groceries from the store or farmer's market when I can. Meanwhile, every ounce of carbon I fight to prevent myself from contributing is pumped out threefold by mega corporations including Microsoft. Thanks. That pretty much sums it up, I think. Just because we're moving towards renewable energy, doesn't mean that the environment is going to get any better so soon. And what exactly is zero net emissions going to do at this point? By 2050, won't adverse effects by the greenhouse gas emissions become irreversible? Isn't global warming just inevitable at this point? We haven't yet arrived at the tipping point just yet. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Climate change is already happening and we're already seeing the effects: more extreme weather events, shifting weather patterns that lead to things like the polar vortex and droughts in some areas and floods in others, the massive wildfires, etc. I share your pessimism, but it's important to note it's not all or nothing. Anything we can do to reduce carbon emissions will make the effects of climate change less bad even if we don't hit net zero. Also, slowing emissions hopefully gives us more time to adapt and maybe come up with a solution, like better carbon capture technology or so. That's why it's important to keep fighting and keep trying, even if it looks hopeless. No, you're correct. We're sliding down an ever steepening cliff and the only thing we can control is how steep the drop is.